So when public figures say kind of the right thing, we're going to highlight it here. We've been doing that with the likes of Governor Spencer Cox today. Later on in the show, we're going to talk about Senator Bernie Sanders. I was watching what he had to say earlier. But then there is the backlash when public officials are fired because of the way they have responded in some cases to Charlie Kirk's murder. And yes, indeed, we have seen some of that too. So NewsNation politics are powered by The Hill, and White House correspondent Alex Cantitano joins us on this from the North Lawn at the White House. So put up the headline from The Hill about teachers and firefighters, officials who are on leave, fired over their posts related to the Charlie Kirk murder. Alex, what do we know about this?
Yeah, we've seen teachers, college-level teachers that have been fired for largely because of things they've put on social media, saying, you know, this is karma or some other awful statements. That's this gut reaction that they've had to the murder of Charlie Kirk. They've decided to put out there, and it's interesting. I think it's notable that these are largely university professors or people in these positions of power, that it comes, you know, they're educators. They're people that are teaching the next generation versus someone just, you know, if you go on Reddit, you'll see people's personal takes on whatever issue, and they can say anything they want, you know, when you're representing yourself. But if you're representing a higher institution or an office, you're an elected official or whatever else, you know, then it becomes this sticky territory. But, you know, I think you're right to display the positive, the things that people are saying, like Governor Cox, that is a message that we should all resonate with, versus people, you know, spewing online their initial gut reactions to things that isn't appropriate, really, once I think they take a step back and think about it.
Yeah, because like George Will was saying a minute ago, we have a choice, like media-wise, you know, you're hosting a show, you're writing a column or whatever you're doing, that we can choose the voices we amplify, that we think are the most important. And that's why we keep going back to Governor Cox. That's why I watched Bernie Sanders' comments, and we'll play them later, because, you know, that's our choice. Now, that said, it's not to say stories like this aren't important, but it speaks to the social media, at least to me, a lot. I mean, the governor himself was saying it was a cancer. I have a statement here that was put out in an opinion piece by Senator Mitch McConnell on some of this, that guardrails matter. McConnell saying that they keep the American experiment rolling, and passionate disagreement is a sign of health. Political violence, like yesterday's sickening display, a sign of decay. So to excuse or encourage it is to place a cynical bet against America. So again, that's a public official. So you know, another thought on this, maybe?
That's right. Yeah, you know, Senator McConnell is that old school politician that you come to Capitol Hill, you make friends with people across the aisle, you might not agree with them, you might actively yell at them during a committee hearing, and at the end of the day, maybe you all get dinner downtown. And that's the way a lot of politics used to be around here. And I think McConnell is displaying that of, we don't need to be in this position that we're all constantly arguing and can't get along with one another. And I think, you know, looking to officials like that is, you know, hopefully Americans can look at that and think, just because you don't agree with someone doesn't mean you have to think the worst of them. I don't know if you saw the photo of Congressman Raskin of Maryland hugging Congresswoman Boebert of Colorado on the Capitol steps yesterday. I thought that was so striking. I wish more people could see that, because it shows, you know, they could fight, they disagree on literally everything. But at the end of the day, we're all Americans. We've had a tough week, and we can, you know, give each other a hug, a pat on the back, whatever it is.
Yeah, so I agree. That's the type of stuff we should show people when we can. Do it all, but we could show that maybe a little bit more than we usually do. One more. Let me ask you one more thing, Alex, while you're here. You've covered this White House. I mean, Kelly Meyer was alluding to this a little bit as well. She's talking about the president's safety and other things. But what would you say about the White House the last couple of days? How are people there? I mean, we're all human beings at the end of the day, including the president's staff. I mean, just about everybody probably knew Charlie Kirk. What's it like in the White House right now?
Yeah, it's definitely a very somber feel around here. Yesterday morning when I came in, well, you know, especially while the shooter was still at large, you know, you could feel the sense of sadness, frustration, all the emotions here. I was listening to Chief of Staff Susie Wiles on a radio show earlier too, and she was talking about what she said to her staff, you know, in time of crisis, time of mourning, when Charlie Kirk was first pronounced dead. She said, go home, hug your loved ones, hug your spouse, hug your children, whoever it is at home, but also don't, you know, lower your voices. I think that there is a sense of, you know, fear that people are trying to figure their way through of, do I then, not be a public-facing person talking about my opinions? Whereas, she said Charlie Kirk wouldn't want us to quiet down, have your voice, but also, keep in mind your safety and your loved ones and how important all that is. So I think there's a real sense of like, where do we go from here? What's happened to our country that we're even having these conversations? But a lot of them were close personal friends of Kirk's, and also he was so helpful on the campaign that even if they weren't, friends with him, they worked with him. So it's definitely been really tough around here.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.